May 17th, 2022, 4:47 a.m. Sloviansk, Donetsk Oblast, Ukraine. Russian artillery incoming. Constant. 152mm shells impacting. Residential areas. Industrial zones. Everything. City population 100,000 pre-war. Now 20,000. Remaining. Mostly elderly. Infirm. Nowhere else. Ukrainian defenders. 1 brigade. Reinforced. 3,000 soldiers. Against. Russian forces. 15,000 plus. 5-to-1 disadvantage. Minimum. Geography. Critical. Sloviansk controls. Northern Donbas. Highway junction. Railway hub. Lose Sloviansk. Entire northern front. Collapses. Kramatorsk threatened. Bakhmut exposed. Everything unravels. Russian strategy. Clear. Encircle Sloviansk. Cut supply lines. Force surrender. Or systematic destruction. Artillery. Airstrikes. Everything. Until resistance ends. Ukrainian command knows. Sloviansk must hold. No retreat. No surrender. Hold. Whatever cost. Brigade understands. Mission impossible. Geography favorable. City defensible. Fortified. Prepared. But numbers overwhelming. Russian forces unstoppable. Eventually, unless something changes, reinforcements arrive. Russian offensive stalls. There's always something, anything. Until then, hold, fight, survive, die. Necessary. All acceptable. Sloviansk must not fall. Northern anchor. Critical. Everything depends. Ukrainian brigade. Dug in. Prepared. Outnumbered. Fighting. For city. For northern front. For everything. This is Sloviansk. May 2022. Impossible defense. Against impossible odds. For strategic necessity. Absolute. The battle develops. Weeks earlier, Russian forces. Approaching. From Izium. Captured. April. Strategic city. River crossing. Now, Russian supply hub. Offensive staging area. Next target, Sloviansk. 60 kilometers south. Direct route. Highway. Ukrainian forces. Preparing. Weeks. Fortifying positions. Urban defenses. Every building. Every intersection. Every approach. Prepared. Anti-tank positions. Machine gun nests. Sniper hides. Artillery positions. Everything. Additionally, civilian evacuation. Organized. Trains. Buses. Private vehicles. Everything. Weeks. Continuous. 80,000 evacuated. 20,000 remained. Couldn't leave. Wouldn't leave. Chose stay. Risk accepted. Ukrainian brigade. Positioned. Defensive perimeters. Multiple. Layered. Forward positions. Main defense line. Fallback positions. Everything planned. Everything prepared. Russian forces. Advancing. Slowly. Ukrainian harassment. Constant. Artillery. Drones. Ambushes. Everything. Slowing advance. Inflicting casualties. Buying time. For preparation. For evacuation. For everything. Mid-May. Russian forces. Sloviansk outskirts, so contact. Initial. Probing attacks. Ukrainian positions. Holding. Easily. Initial. Russian forces. Testing. Finding weaknesses. Identifying defenses. Preparing. Main assault. Coming. Soon. Inevitable. At 11:47 p.m. May 30th, 2 weeks after initial contact, Russian offensive intensifies. Main assault. Multiple axes. Northern approaches. Eastern sectors. Everything. Simultaneously. Artillery preparation. Hours. Systematic. Devastating. Then. Armor. Infantry. Combined arms. Everything. Ukrainian positions. Forward perimeter. Overwhelmed. Some, not all. Fighting fierce. Building by building. Street by street. Ukrainian forces withdrawing. Controlled. To main defense line. Prepared positions. Stronger. Better fortified. Russian advance. Slowing. Urban warfare. Brutal. Every building contested. Every street defended. Russian casualties. Heavy. Tanks destroyed. Infantry killed. Advances measured. Meters. Not kilometers. days, not hours. Ukrainian defense, effective, holding, mostly, but attrition, inevitable, casualties mounting, ammunition depleting, reinforcements, minimal, supplies, difficult, highway under fire, railway threatened, Sloviansk, isolated, increasingly, brigade, fighting, dying, holding, still, how long, unknown, Russian forces, persistent, numerous, eventually, something breaks, Ukrainian lines, Russian will, supply chains, something, Sloviansk defense, ongoing, outcome, uncertain, completely. This is Military Report. And what happened at Sloviansk wasn't heroic last stand or miraculous victory. Was calculated defense buying strategic time where outnumbered Ukrainian brigade held critical northern anchor preventing Russian encirclement of entire Donbas pocket, where urban warfare negated Russian numerical advantage and prepared defenses enabled sustained resistance despite overwhelming enemy superiority, where holding Sloviansk kept northern supply routes open and prevented collapse of Ukrainian defensive positions across entire sector, where tactical defense achieved strategic purpose through denying enemy key terrain and forcing protracted urban combat that bled Russian offensive momentum. The question isn't whether Sloviansk could hold indefinitely. Obviously couldn't. Question is how long outnumbered defenders sustained defense. What enabled resistance against 5-to-1 odds? And what Sloviansk reveals about defensive operations where strategic necessity requires holding untenable positions until broader situation changes. Official Russian statements about Sloviansk. Confident initially. Sloviansk will be liberated soon. Resistance minimal. Victory certain. Reality different. Weeks passed. Sloviansk held. Statements changed. Less confident. More generic. Operations proceeding. Tactical successes. Vague. Eventually, silence. No updates. Sloviansk offensive. Stalled. Quietly. Publicly unacknowledged. Russian forces. Diverted. Elsewhere. Lysychansk. Severodonetsk. Easier targets. Sloviansk postponed. Indefinitely. Statements couldn't hide. Timeline proved. Sloviansk held. Russian offensive. Failed. Against Ukrainian brigade. Outnumbered. Determined. Successful. Strategically. Ukrainian statements about Sloviansk defense. Measured. Realistic. Defenders holding under difficult conditions. Accurate. Russian attacks repelled. Partially. City remains Ukrainian. True. Statements acknowledged. Difficulty. Casualties. Challenges. Everything. But emphasized. Holding. Resisting. Denying enemy. All critical. All strategic. Ukrainian military. Understood. Sloviansk importance. Supported maximally. Limited resources. Divided attention. Multiple fronts. Everything. But Sloviansk priority. Northern anchor. Must hold. Statements reflected. Priority. Commitment. Reality. Sloviansk defense. Critical seeing ongoing. Successful. Strategically. Stay with me. Because the detail that explains sustained defense, how outnumbered brigade held, is going to show you that combination of urban terrain, prepared defenses, and tactical competence enabled resistance against numerical superiority. Urban terrain, Sloviansk, city, buildings, streets, infrastructure, everything. Favors defenders, negates, armor advantages, numerical superiority, open terrain tactics, everything. Russian forces, trained, open warfare, massed armor, artillery support, urban warfare, different, difficult, deadly, every building fortress, every street kill zone, Ukrainian defenders, advantage, home terrain, prepared positions, local knowledge, everything. Additionally, prepared defenses, weeks preparation, fortifications, anti-tank positions, firing positions, supply caches, everything, layered, redundant, professional, Russian forces, encountering, prepared defenses, every approach, costly, slow, deadly. Tactical competence, Ukrainian brigade, professional, trained, experienced, Western trained, many, NATO standards, tactical proficiency, high, defending, competently, professionally, against numerical superiority, Russian forces, more numerous, less competent, tactically, many, conscripts, poor training, low motivation, advantages, numbers, artillery, everything quantitative, disadvantages, training, motivation, urban warfare proficiency, everything qualitative, Ukrainian defenders, opposite, qualitative advantages, quantitative disadvantages, urban terrain plus prepared defenses plus tactical competence, combined, enabled, sustained resistance, against overwhelming odds, Sloviansk, weeks, holding, successfully, through, terrain, preparation, competence, everything, combined, decisive. Let's establish what Sloviansk defense actually was. Strategic importance, tactical execution, results. Sloviansk strategic importance, northern Donbas, critical position, highway junction, railway hub, supply routes, everything, controls access. Northern sector, lose Sloviansk, northern front collapses, Kramatorsk threatened, Bakhmut exposed, entire sector, vulnerable, Russian encirclement, possible, Sloviansk, anchor, northern defensive line, must hold, strategic necessity, absolute, Ukrainian command, understood, prioritized, defended, maximally, limited resources, but Sloviansk, priority, always, defending force composition, Ukrainian brigade, reinforced, 3,000 soldiers, regular army, territorial defense, National Guard, everyone, combined, equipment, mixed, Soviet era, Western supplied, everything, sufficient, ammunition, limited, rationed, carefully, artillery support, available, limited, precious, used, sparingly, critical moments, only, training, variable, regular army, professionalize, well-trained, territorial defense, adequate, motivated, National Guard, experienced, urban warfare, everything, combined capability, sufficient, defending, not attacking, motivation, high, defending homes, city, strategic position, everything, morale, sustained, despite casualties, isolation, everything, difficult, but necessary, accepted, Russian attacking force, 15,000 plus soldiers, multiple units, battalion tactical groups, combined arms, everything, equipment, abundant, armor, artillery, air support, everything, numerical, qualitative, variable, some units, professional, experienced, effective, many units, conscripts, poorly trained, low motivation, mixed capability, overall, numerical superiority, significant, but urban warfare, negates, partially, advantages, artillery, massive, constant, suppressive, destructive, everything, disadvantages, urban combat, casualties, time, everything, costly, slow, frustrating, defensive tactics and operations, layered defense, forward positions, main line, fallback positions, everything, prepared, interconnected, mutually supporting, forward positions, trading space, buying time, inflicting casualties, then, withdrawing, controlled, professional, most fortified, urban core, buildings prepared, streets blocked, everything, defended, tenaciously, professionally, fallback positions, contingency, prepared, unused, mostly, Sloviansk, held, main line, sufficient, tactics, ambush, withdraw, counterattack, repeat, inflict casualties, preserve forces, sustain defense, maximize, Russian costs, minimize, Ukrainian losses, professional, effective, sustainable, weeks, ongoing, Russian tactical challenges. Urban warfare, difficult. Every building, contested. Every street, defended. Armor, vulnerable. Anti-tank weapons, everywhere. Close range, deadly. Russian tanks, destroyed. Dozens. Streets, urban terrain, unsuited. Tank warfare, infantry, necessary. Urban combat, building clearing, room to room. Deadly, slow. Casualty intensive. Russian infantry, suffering. Heavy losses. Morale, degrading. Progress, minimal. Costly. Everything. Frustrating. Russian command, recognizing. Sloviansk, difficult. Time-consuming. Costly. Strategically, necessary. Tactically, nightmare. Decision, eventually. Divert forces. Easier targets. Sloviansk, postponed. Ukrainian defense, successful. Strategically. Through. Sustained resistance. Tactical competence. Urban warfare. Everything. Combined. 3 questions from the beginning. Time to answer them. How long did outnumbered defenders sustain defense? Weeks. May-June 2022. Initial contact, mid-May. Intense fighting, late May-June. Russian offensive, stalled. Early June. Sloviansk, held. Throughout. Weeks sustained. Against. Overwhelming odds. 5-1. Minimum. Sustained through. Urban warfare. Prepared defenses. Tactical competence. Everything. Combined. Enabled. Weeks resistance. Against. Impossible odds. Successfully. Strategically. Sloviansk, held. Northern anchor. Maintained. Ukrainian defense, successful. Measured, strategic purpose. Not tactical impossibility. Purpose, achieved. Hold northern anchor. Prevent encirclement. Buy time. Everything. Accomplished. Weeks. Sufficient. Strategic success. What enabled resistance against 5-1 odds? Urban terrain primarily. Negates. Numerical advantages. Armor superiority. Everything. Open terrain. Buildings. Streets. Infrastructure. Everything. Defender's advantage. Prepared defenses additionally. Weeks preparation. Fortifications. Positions. Supply caches. Everything. Professional. Layered. Effective. Tactical competence finally. Ukrainian brigade. Professional. Trained. Motivated. Defending competently. Against Russian forces. Numerically superior. Qualitatively mixed. Urban warfare difficult. For everyone. Defenders advantaged. Attackers disadvantaged. Ukrainian brigade exploited. Advantages. Maximized. Effectiveness. Sustained resistance. Against overwhelming numbers. Through terrain. Preparation. Competence. Everything. Combined. Decisive. What does Sloviansk reveal about defensive operations? That strategic necessity sometimes requires holding untenable positions until broader situation changes. Sloviansk, strategically critical, tactically difficult, numerically impossible, but necessary. Ukrainian command, understood, committed brigade, accepted costs, achieved purpose, hold northern anchor, prevent encirclement, buy time, everything, strategic, accomplished, through, tactical defense, sustained, professional, effective, defensive operations, require, more than, tactical competence, require strategic understanding, purpose clarity, commitment sustainability, Sloviansk, demonstrated, all, Ukrainian brigade, understood purpose, held position, achieved objective, despite impossible odds, through, professional defense, urban warfare, sustained resistance, strategic success, through tactical sacrifice, defensive operations, Sloviansk model, strategic necessity, tactical competence, sustained commitment, results, strategic success, despite tactical difficulty, Sloviansk, teaching permanently. Defensive warfare. Modern. Strategic. Professional. The lesson from Sloviansk defense is that strategic necessity sometimes requires defending tactically untenable positions where urban terrain and professional competence enable sustained resistance despite numerical inferiority, achieving strategic purpose through operational denial. Ukrainian brigade, 3,000 soldiers, held Sloviansk. Weeks. Against 15,000 Russians, 5-1 disadvantage. Sustained through urban warfare advantages. Prepared defensive positions. Professional tactical execution. Everything. Combined. Enabled resistance. Against overwhelming odds. Strategic purpose. Hold northern anchor. Prevent encirclement. Buy time. Everything. Achieved. Through. Weeks resistance. Costly. Difficult. Necessary. Successful. Measured strategically. Not tactically. Urban terrain. Critical enabler. Buildings. Streets. Everything. Negated. Russian advantages. Numbers. Armor. Artillery effectiveness. Everything. Reduced. Defenders advantaged. Relatively immature. Prepared defenses. Weeks preparation. Professional. Comprehensive. Effective. Fortifications. Positions. Supply. Everything. Maximized. Defensive capability. Reduced. Vulnerability. Somewhat. Tactical competence. Ukrainian professionalism. Training. Motivation. Everything. High. Defending competently. Against mixed Russian capability. Numerical advantage. Qualitative disadvantage. Many units. Urban warfare. Difficult. Deadly. For everyone. Defenders better positioned. Attackers disadvantaged. Ukrainian exploitation. Perfect. Russian frustration. Complete. Offensive. Stalled. Diverted. Sloviansk. Held. Strategic success. Through. Impossible defense. Professional execution. Strategic understanding. Sloviansk teaches. Modern defensive operations. Urban warfare. Strategic necessity. Professional competence. Everything. Combined. Enables. Impossible possible. Strategic success. Through tactical sacrifice. Permanently, we analyze operations defining modern warfare. Sloviansk defense defines urban defensive operations. Strategic necessity. Tactical impossibility. Professional execution. May-June 2022. Ukrainian brigade. 3,000 soldiers. Defending Sloviansk. Northern Donbas. Critical position. Against Russian forces. 15,000 plus. Overwhelming. Numerical superiority. 5-1. Minimum. Initial contact. Mid-May. Probing attacks. Ukrainian positions. Holding. Easily. Russian reconnaissance. Identifying. Defenses. Weaknesses. Preparing. Main assault. Late May. Multiple axes. Artillery preparation. Massive. Hours. Devastating. Then. Combined arms. Armor. Infantry. Everything. Ukrainian forward positions. Some overwhelmed. Controlled withdrawal. Main defense. Line. Urban core. Prepared. Fortified. Strong. Russian advance. Slowing. Urban warfare. Every building. Contested. Every street. Defended. Casualties. Heavy. Russian. Tanks destroyed. Infantry killed. Progress. Minimal. Meters daily. Not kilometers. Ukrainian defense. Effective. Holding. Main line. Sustained. Weeks. Casualties. Mounting. Both sides. Ammunition. Depleting. Ukrainian. Supply. Difficult. Highway threatened. Railway targeted. Sloviansk isolated. Increasingly, but holding. Still. Russian offensive. Stalled. Early June. Progress. Insufficient. Costs. Unsustainable. Time. Excessive. Decision. Divert forces. Easier targets. Lysychansk. Severodonetsk. Elsewhere. Sloviansk. Postponed. Northern anchor. Held. Encirclement. Prevented. Time. Bought. Everything. Strategic purpose. Achieved. Through urban warfare advantages. prepared defenses, professional tactics, Ukrainian brigade, outnumbered, determined, competent, held Sloviansk, weeks, against impossible odds, for strategic necessity, successfully, completely, Sloviansk defense, modern warfare lesson, urban terrain, defender advantage, preparation, critical, competence, decisive, strategic necessity, sometimes requires, tactical impossibility, attempted, professional execution, enables, success, despite, everything, Sloviansk, demonstrated, teaching, permanently. Subscribe to Military Report, because understanding modern warfare requires understanding Sloviansk lessons, urban defensive operations, strategic necessity, tactical impossibility, professional execution, Ukrainian brigade, outnumbered 5-1, held city, weeks, how, urban terrain, buildings negate armor, streets channel infantry, everything, defender advantage, prepared defenses, weeks preparation, fortifications, positions, supply caches, professionally planned, comprehensively executed, effective thoroughly, tactical competence, Ukrainian training, NATO standards, many, professional soldiers, motivated defenders, local knowledge, everything, advantages, exploited, maximized, against, Russian numerical superiority, mixed quality, some professional, many conscripts, urban warfare, difficult, everyone, defenders, better positioned, attackers disadvantaged, results, sustained resistance, weeks duration, against overwhelming odds, achieving, strategic purpose, hold northern anchor, prevent encirclement, buy time, everything, strategic, necessary, accomplished, through tactical defense, urban warfare, professional execution, costly, difficult, necessary, successful, Russian offensive, stalled, diverted, Sloviansk, held, Ukrainian success, strategic, complete, lesson, modern urban warfare, defenders advantaged, when, terrain exploited, defenses prepared, tactics professional, everything, combined, enables, sustained resistance, despite numerical inferiority, strategic necessity, sometimes requires, defending untenable, until, situation changes, Sloviansk, required, Ukrainian brigade, delivered, professional defense, sustained weeks, strategic success, through, impossible mission, professional execution, study Sloviansk, learn defensive operations, urban warfare, strategic thinking, professional execution, modern warfare, permanent lessons, real operations, real tactics, real consequences. Stay informed.